of Taiji Tuesday. And today I'm really excited about doing some more of a external Kung Fu movement because we are focusing on mental health as movement health. And I'm sharing what I've learned in my practice through Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, and Kung Fu. And so today we should know that Chinese martial arts looks at external styles and internal styles. And it's more of a spectrum because you can take, if you know the principles, you can take external styles and movements and you can add internal framework through to them. And you can also have internal styles and movements and you can also make them look external as well. And the concept is, um, in comparison, is that the energy manifestation for internal styles is built on the inside. And that has to do with the energy reservoirs, the energy centers, and the energy channels, and building up the body to a capacity where it can handle large amounts of energy through one pathway, through one point when you're doing a movement. External styles focus on external energy, more energy that is used by the muscles. And it could be also the connective tissues as well. But because um, there's a lot of secrecy, there's a lot that we don't know. There's still a lot that I don't know that I haven't experienced myself. But I just wanted to show and draw this contrast between external and internal. And we're going to have a little bit of fun today as we explore this concept for the concept of mental health. Because when we look at the practice and the style, we learn martial arts and for the um, for this understanding of self and the meaning of life. We practice martial arts for the understanding of self and the meaning of life. And this is the understanding, the knowledge that we're looking for. It's not about comparing style against style. Um, and in the past, there was a lot of that because usually there were families that were warring, or there was generals that were warring, or countries or large communities that were warring, and so they didn't have bombs and missiles and machine guns and what have you. They only had their hands, their fists, and whatever weapons that they can make out of wood and metal. And so they would go out in the battlefield, and they would have, humanity has been warring, for millennia. And so the Chinese scholars saw this, and this is why we get the yin yang symbol, because the scholars saw that harmony and peace is a dynamic process where there's war and there's absence of war, there's peace, there's absence of peace, and um, we have the ability and the capacity to influence whether we do go to war, and if we want to perpetuate war, or if we want to cultivate peace and see a world of peace. And so this is the vision and the hope that Chinese scholars had for humans when they made the yin yang symbol, in understanding that within the whole, you have two seemingly opposing sides. And sides, in order for one side to exist, it has to be contrasted against the other, the white and the black, the male and the female, the night and the day, and the left and the right. And so the valuable message that we get from the yin yang symbol is that those parts are encased in one unifying circle and one unifying whole. That is the symbol of oneness that permeates everything that we see all around us, and including all of the things that are unseen. With that, let's start moving, let's start warming up, and let's start breathing. Taking a deep breath, inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. We're shaking the hands, we're shaking the wrists, we're shaking the fingers, and we're shaking the elbows, and we're shaking the shoulders because we want to encourage circulation and flow of all of the fluids in the body. We want to stimulate the metabolism for cell regeneration in the body. Now, since today we're talking about Kung Fu and Gong Fu practice and external style, we're talking about the need to harden the body, hardening the body against injury, hardening the body against um, overuse, hardening the body against impact and blows um, to the body. In order to do that, we have to have a profound capacity for healing and cell regeneration. In order to harden the body, make it strong, we have to have a profound capacity for healing in the body. So, with Kung Fu, through repeated practice, we have a door that opens up to us where we can learn about healing and regeneration. And the deeper that we can go, maybe the more we can find those areas, those zones, those portals where we can find peace and harmony in ourselves and in the world. So this is the hope, this is our hope, and I'm just sharing my experience and my understanding as I know it. I'd love to see and hear what other people think as well, um, from their experience and from their knowledge, embodied knowledge. Okay, let's now swing the arms because we need to warm up the body. Now, when we talk about health, we have to look at the seasons. We have to look at which season we are in. So for me, here in Humboldt County, we are in the rainy season coming into the winter. It's cold and rainy and wet. And so, how does the body respond? The body responds by tightening up, seizing up, contracting. When you have a let's lift the heel and turn around, when you have more of a warm climate, you have more blood that is easily circulating in the body. When it's cold, the blood's going to be slower. And it's not just the blood, it's all of the fluids that are in the body. So, that's why a lot of people tend to gravitate towards warmer climates because it's cold and it makes your bones hurt and it slows down circulation. You feel tightness. So old people feel pain around their joints and they feel stiff and tight. And this is the reason why we have to add conscious movement to battle and balance the winter season. Let's go ahead and lift the toe now, returning as we do our warm up and lifting our toes. Breathing, conscious breathing. If you don't know my story, I lived with my teacher in a discipleship full-time training program for 9 years here in Humboldt County. We lived and trained together daily, meditated daily, practiced, ran the mountain, and for me, I tried to achieve my highest potential when it came to martial arts, movement, strength and speed. So I have done a lot of different kinds of resistance training, um, fear based training to overcome fear, contemplative practice, meditation, breathing practice, and I even learned about farming and gardening. We're going to spread the feet out a little bit and go into our squat, and we're going to learn about Kung Fu. So when we look at, well, here's what I'm studying in my life, because when my teacher often says, when we are learning martial arts, we're not just learning fight. We're not just learning to fight. We're learning about self-defense. Martial arts is about, and Chinese martial arts is about stopping the weapon. Chinese martial arts is about stopping the weapon. Now, that can be the internal weapon and the external weapon. The external weapon is the weapon that is coming towards you. The internal weapon could be anything that you decide to weaponize. And we have to look at our thoughts and the role that our thoughts play when it comes to conflict in our lives. And conflict is a huge subject of interest for me. And I think it should be a huge subject of interest for us as we see polarization, as we see division in our social climate. So, mental health is a huge component of of a population and a people's ability to self-regulate. If the mental health is not in order, civilization cannot run itself efficiently. Interestingly, the body, the human body, the Chinese scholars see running a human body like running a huge civilization. So, for example, when it comes to illness and disease, the scholars saw the human body as a battlefield. And in that battlefield, you have a general, you have soldiers, and you have the fighting spirit, the morale of the army. So within the body, what is all of that? Well, the general is the mind, the soldiers are the blood, and the fighting spirit is the morale. And Chinese Qigong health practices, medical Qigong, look at how to stimulate blood flow, how to use the mind for training, and how to keep the spirit high so as to ward off illness and disease. And so you find that Kung Fu and Tai Chi movements and practices are systems that align and follow with that um, symbology and that metaphor of the body being a battlefield. Now, this is also the systems and the principles and the theories apply internally to be able to live and cultivate in our own small universe, in our own inner lives. And the principles universally also help externally. So, this is why I'm also studying dispute resolution systems. Dispute resolution systems have to do with resolution of conflict, mediation, um, dispute, and other dispute resolution systems. So here's the three things that I'm studying these days in a little bit of this mental health course that we're looking at. We're looking at mental health. We're looking at unity consciousness, which is what I referred to in that unifying circle and whole of the yin yang symbol. And then we're also looking at dispute resolution systems. Martial arts can be considered a dispute resolution system because you are defending yourself against an attacker. So, with that in mind, we're going to look at, we talked about the inner landscape, and we talked about inner arts training. We're going to look at a kung fu movement, and we're going to look at, because when we are in our own energy states, how do we know we're not um, per, perpetuating violence on the planet? So one of the things I study is nonviolent communication. How do we know when we are contributing to peace on the planet versus violence on the planet? So we often might feel like we are justified in committing an act, and it might bring harm or hurt to someone or something, but we are justified because we are protecting ourselves or someone we love. And sometimes people often act out with violence because there's instability and that mental health is not intact. We have to investigate and look at these things and why they happen, because martial artists are students of character and morality, and they don't want to use the fist or the weapon or even the mind as a weapon. Now, so let's take all of us here that are humans. We've all experienced the emotional states that all humans experience. Let's take anger and frustration. We have felt um, justified in um, defending or protecting ourselves or someone else. And so when we come and we bring our energy, it manifests through our body. But what if we can't control our energy? What if we can't control our body? And what if we can't control our minds? We've seen a lot of conflict in our world lately. We've seen a lot of acting out. We've seen a lot of what we call mental health episodes in which someone um, basically kills someone else, acts with violence. If we understand the impact of violent behavior, we are more inclined not to exhibit violent behavior. So, Kung Fu practice is really interesting here in this respect. Take a look at this movement here. I open, block, hammer, arm, hammer, hand, down into my hand. Open, block with this hand, hammer, hand, down into my hand. Open, hammer, down into my hand. If you understand the pain that you are exhibiting or giving or manifesting, then you have an understanding of the impact that it can have. And the only way that you understand that is by feeling it yourself. Do you know someone who's punched a hole in the wall? Do you know people who have a problem with punching a hole in the wall? They don't understand the impact of their choices, right? They're not going to go and punch a brick wall because they know it hurts. But a sheetrock wall, that's going to send a message. So that's just one little example, but we need to understand the impact of aggressive behavior. And so this Kung Fu movement helps to do that along with others. So I'm going to show that to you. We're going to get into a horse stance. We're going to inhale, breathe. We're going to start off with a Taiji flow and hammer down, forearm into the hand, forearm into the hand. In our low horse stance, Now the hammer hand is going to switch to an open palm. We're going to circle through the line, our center line. And then the other hand is going to swing around, hammer, down. Switching hands, open palm, inhale, exhale, hammer down. Inhale, exhale, hammer down. Inhale, open. 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 Exhale, hammer down. Now for diversity of movement, we're going to let's turn to the right. I'll mirror you. So right hand's going to turn, open palm to the right, and left hand hammer down. And then we're going to swing that hammer down all the way 180 degrees to the other side. And then we're going to hammer right hand down. Again, we're going to switch. This is simulating block. And swing down, hammer. 180 degrees. Again, it's turning behind, hammer. Again, switching, inhale, blocking. Exhale, hammer. Inhale, block again. Exhale, hammer. So we've gone two directions here. We've gone two directions. And here with this exercise, we're going to, as we're continuing to do Tai Chi slow movement, we're going to go four directions. I went left and I went right. Now I'm going to go forward and then I'm going to go back. And so north, west, east, south, you can decide how you want to go, but cover all four directions in the space that you're in. So you don't need a lot of space to do this, right? Small space Tai Chi. Inhale, exhale. Okay? So this simple movement we can break down more and more. Like all Tai Chi and Kung Fu movements, we can continue breaking them down. So for example, we break down the body into 6 major bows: spine bow, chest bow, arms, and legs. Now, let's look at the chest bow when we're doing this movement. So the chest bow opens and closes to uh, integrate the pectoral muscles and then all of the muscles in the back, including the traps, the muscles around the scapula for opening, closing, pulling, and contracting. So let's look at how the body feels when we open and close the chest. So when I separate my hands, I'm opening my chest. Show that again. It's open, close, open. Show you in front. Open, close, open. Right? So this is to add and provide power to the movement. Now that we've opened and we want to express our power, we're going to close the chest, open and close the chest. So feel the open and then the close, open and then the close, open, close. If we switch hands, we're going to open, close, open, close, open, close. When you close, you feel your pecs tightened. When you open with your back muscles. Open, close, open, close. So that's just one bow. When we do the spine bow, that's also opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing. Okay? And that gives us the power manifestation and what a lot of people call the Fa Jing or the Jing power. So, as best as you can without hurting yourself, you're going to try this movement as hard and as fast as you can. Like I said, for Tai Chi Tuesday today, we're looking at the external manifestation of power. And that requires us to move faster and harder and with more impact. However, with this mental health component, we're looking at the impact of our aggression, because when we're manifesting this power, we're feeling the impact in our hand. So you could hear I just added my breath, and that is the impact I feel on my forearm and then on my hand as well. That sends a message to the nervous system, to the mind, and even the contemplative mind about the downstream effects of aggression in aggressive manifestation, right? So we'll do at about, we're not going to go to 100%. We'll go to about 30 to 50 to 70% of our power capability, okay? So if I go to, I'm in a horse stance, do 30, getting a little bit of a sound and a slap, opening my spine and my chest. Breath. Getting to about 50, getting to about 75. And I'm starting to feel over time and with each repetition the impact of my hand and my arm, because I'm slapping my aggression against itself. I am slapping my aggression against itself. To understand the impact while hardening the body. So if we go back to our four corners, then now we start to have a little bit more of a fast and external practice, right? So I don't know about you and how you're feeling, but I'm energized, I'm awake, my muscles and my forearms are feeling the impact. I even felt it in my shoulder joint when I had impact. And the pain and the sensation makes me want to move harder and faster with this. So we have to be careful not to injure ourselves. And here we start to get into a communication loop with the nervous system and with the body and with the mind. Because remember, we're looking for mental health. We're looking for mental health through movement health. This movement that, and the only thing that we can use is our body to understand balance. Too much aggression, not enough stimulation. We're along that spectrum. Not enough stimulation. We have to stimulate the body so that the body can circulate its fluids, its lungs and heart and digestive systems to process. That has to be done to be healthy. We have to process our memories, our hopes, our visions, our dreams, our traumas, and our trials and our tribulations. We all have to process those in a healthy way. And we have to be able to live in a world that is stressful, right? And so this is how we use the body and how we use martial arts to create a relationship and to hone a relationship of deep listening and practice and cultivation for mental health in our world. Thank you for your time and thank you for your consideration. Continue to follow this. We're looking at mental health, their movement health. Taiji Tuesday today with a little demo and a little theory of Kung Fu movement. Until next time, may your chi flow smoothly and remember to embrace the woo.